Hello everyone, my name is Sweta Regmi. You're watching me live from Canada. Please drop in comments where you guys are watching me from. Today I'm going to discuss about what should you be doing when you just got hired or if you just got promoted, and what should be your plan. We're going to talk about a 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days plan that I've personally applied in my career, and also some of my clients have applied as well. Now, I just wanted to make sure you understand there is no one size fits all. It all depends on the type of role, the industry. That's why I do have a package which is called One Size Does Not Fit All, and I fully customize my sessions one-to-one with her client depending on the industry. So if you have any questions, let me know. I should be here around 20 minutes or so. I'm streaming live on YouTube as well. Subscribe to my channel to support me. Share this videos, comment, and let's go from there. Now, are you looking for a job right now? Type 1 if you are. And if you've just got promoted, type 2 for me and comment. Also, if you just got hired, type 3. If you're a newcomer in Canada, type 4 for me. So at least I understand how many of you are watching so you can relate. I have just in bits, a little bit of tidbits for everybody. Newcomers to Canada, to new hire in the company, also someone who is most likely going to be promoted soon. Also someone who just probably got promoted soon. I'm just going to take questions a little bit later on at the end of the sessions. All right, so let me see if everything is fine. I see comments going through. How many people are watching me right now? And do I sound all right? Sound, camera, everything is okay? Yes, give me a thumbs up. Give me a love. Put 5 for me so I know that you guys can hear me so I can start right now. 5? I know it's going to be delayed. All right, perfect. All right, newcomers to Canada, I'm going to start from you first, okay? There's a blog that I wrote about what is Canadian experience, and I can personally relate it. For those of you who do not have any clue about who am I, I immigrated to Canada. It's been over 21 years. I was a newcomer to Canada, and I guess I've done all those jobs, survival jobs. I moved up. I worked in the fast food. Also, I have worked in survival job. For me, it was not a survival jobs because I learned everything. And I think the bridging jobs helps us understand how farther we can go in life. It literally makes you self-reflect about, oh, I never thought that I'd be doing these things if I immigrated to Canada. So I really want you to be proud of it. There's no small jobs. There's no fancy title. You can make an impact without having any fancy title. You don't have to be CEO. You don't have to be executive. You don't have to be VP in any company. Any jobs that you're in right now as a newcomer to Canada, or especially the immigrant, be proud of yourself because you left your home, not your brain and not your skills, all right? So kudos to you for making that decisions. I know it's hard. I have moved countries from Nepal to States, then from States to Canada. And within Canada as well, I've moved multiple locations. So every time when you move within the country too, it's a new start. You have to reinvent everything in your life. So I'm so proud of you if you're one of those who've moved or you've immigrated to countries. So clapping for you. All right. So let's go with the plan for you. What you should do if you just got hired in a new company. First of all, you want to make sure that there's a plan for you to be successful at that role itself. Now, if you work with the branded company, they already have that career path. You should talk to your manager about, hey, what does a success look like for people like me who just got hired? Is there any plan that you've already drafted out? So 30 days, what would 30 days look like? What are the tasks that I need to complete it within 30 days? What are the tasks that I need to complete within 60 days? And what are the tasks that I need to complete in 90 days? So what that does is that actually sets up the very good expectation from day one. So you understand the expectation from your boss and the company's culture as well. So during that time, first 30 days that what I did was, there are a lot of industry jargon or lingo. I came from the different world, a retail environment where I sold stuff that was a retail, and I moved from retail to corporate. When you start going into the corporate world, there are so many industry lingos that you have to understand, and you do not want to assume it, especially if you're a newcomer to Canada. Now, I have a blog, and there's industry lingo and corporate language, business language. I wrote it. That actually was something that I learned so much of wording, how to talk to people, how to understand when we're in a meeting. You want to go and check out that blogs. I'll put that in later on so you can understand. So now this applies to everybody when you step into that corporate ladder, how the people talk, right? Such as, let's say, well, we'll take a deeper dive. What does that really mean to you? Especially when you're a newcomer to Canada, if you don't understand how they talk, you might be feeling left out. And honestly, if you don't try to understand and assume that, okay, you know what, I would understand one day, that's when you would probably feel that I don't belong here. Nobody, you know what, they don't talk like me, right? So here's my suggestion. Within 30 days, understand the company's environment and culture and how they talk. Your job is to just listen, write it down. And I did that, put the notebook together, and anything that you hear in the company, new word, new language, any processes that you feel like, well, I've never thought about that, put that in writing, and then start asking those to the people that you really trust. So within 30 days, your main goal would be to just learn, complete all the modules. Bigger companies would be assigning you a bunch of modules. Make sure you learn it, because if you don't learn that, then it's going to be very hard for you to understand the role. So collect more information. Now, if you're in the leadership role, you just got hired in the leadership role, I want you to make sure that you gather all the information. Have a meeting one-to-one with your staff right away, because first impression matters. They are your team, and you need to understand how they function. You need to let them vent. Maybe something was not working. You need to be just listening to them and starting to write it down. What we do as a new leader, new people, is we try to change right away without understanding, bringing the outer perspective, and that's when you're going to get the pushback. Now, change is very hard for anybody. Would you like someone to come from outside and start changing the things without understanding your problem? Why? So anytime you want to change something as a leader, apply the rule called Adgar Model, ADKAR. You can go and Google it. What does that mean? You got to understand, if people understand, are they aware? Do they have a desire, right? Do they have a knowledge? And, all those things, right? And result in everything. So everything needs to be put together on that model. I've applied that and it works beautifully. Google it, ADKAR model. Try to understand that model and see if you're leading the team, it works the wonder. Now, for people who do not have a direct report, right? So the 60 days would be something that now you got to be taking on some mini task. What I did personally that worked for me was I took on instant fix that I can implement it, or I can forward my concern to my manager or someone, the stakeholder, getting to know the stakeholder. My role might impact somebody else in the back end. Understanding now, getting to know the stakeholders inside your department, outside of department. What does it matter? If you do something wrong, you got to understand what's the implication of it, because at the end of the day, you don't want to make your managers work hard for you, because you're going to be watched in 3 months. There's a probation period, 3 months in Canada, but in public sector and government, there's 6 months, right? So there is a reason that's given out there, because I, as a manager, I'm watching you just to see if you take initiative. Do you understand the process? Do you come with a lot of mistake? And how do you acknowledge mistake? Do you ask for help when it's needed? So you want to make sure you make it very easy for your manager. So you don't bring the problem to the management desk. You bring the solutions. Hey, I saw this. What? Here are the solutions. What do you think? Always ask for buy-in. Before you do that, do talk to your colleagues as well, especially the mentors who've been there for so long, because they understand their process. I really want you to focus on that sector, because what happens is all of us, we come as an expert. There's a reason they hired you. But what happens is When you try to go into the place brand new and you feel like you can do it all, that's not going to be okay with the other people, because at the end of the day, you need to be surrounded by people who's going to support you. If you want the buy-in, go talk to people, have a lunch meeting with them, have a coffee chat with them. Your thing should be, how can I make this easier for other people? Now, change is hard. Everybody who is new hire, if you want to implement some ideas, anything like that, you got to think about what's in for them. Because if you actually provide the solutions of, hey, if we do this, you know what, your job's gonna be a lot easier. Let's say you don't have to probably do overtime, or let's say that you don't have to work on holiday, right? So what's in for them? Each motivation is different for everybody. Not everybody likes the change, but you are the one who's going to make an impact by talking to them. So now what I suggest you guys to do is, if you're a new hire or got promoted, or even if you're going into that sector and you know that you want to get into that company, start thinking about the pain, the instant fix that you can offer. You've done it previously, that has worked in the previous organizations, and you were literally recommended in the last organization, thinking that that person is the go-to. That's your strength. Implement that right away, instant fix. So that way people can see, well, she's a doer. She walks the talk. Pick that quick fix right away, at least 5 of them. And then pick 2 main projects where you want to be working on it, right? And by then, what you got to do is, before you start implementing the ideas and picking up the project, I really want you to look at the feedback. Customers complain, let's say you're working in the banking industry. I'm going to give you an example, right? There's going to be complaints. There's going to be feedback that has been collected by people, and there has to be centralized team. Go and ask, what are the top feedbacks? What are the top complaints that people are talking about? Now go and see where you can fix those instantly, right? Or provide the solutions, right? And the second one is, what's the maximum thing that one or 2 main problem that you can solve, and then take that and make your own project. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, it's a lot of things to do because I have so much to do. I have so much responsibilities, but then why am I taking more project? This is where you are going to shine. This is where you're going to pass that probation period. If you just wait for a task to be delegated, and there's the next new hire, your competition, who just takes away everything on the plate, and who is very good at doing it, who's going to stand out? They're going to keep the other person, right? Now, I'm not going to tell you that, kill the work-life balance and overwork it. That's not the point here. Be smarter. You don't have to work harder, 10 hours a day, but be smarter where you want to be known as. Pick that one. The next thing is, beautifully, what's going to work for you is go join the community within the organization. There's so many events happening. There's a community. There's a social community who actually organizes the event all throughout the year. There's a volunteer community, they just look at the volunteer, all those community. There's a Toastmaster group as well within the organizations. Take one that actually impresses you and you know that you can help out. Now, within 3 months, I want you to do that, because you only have a short time to make an impression. There's no going back. It's like a first impression. So you got to make sure you shine within 3 months and join that community. And I really want you to make sure who is in that community: senior leadership, director, VP. You want it to be known as, oh, that new hire is really good. She offers so many things and I'm really impressed, right? You got to go and have that skip level meeting. That's a next step for you. Your boss's boss. You got to have that, not to rant about your boss, but to get to know your boss. Put that in calendar, make that once a month. Have a chat, coffee chat with your boss's boss, skip level meeting. So that way you understand the boss's expectation as well. It does wonder. And I've done that all the time throughout my career. And it's really amazing to see how much of information you get as a new hire to implement the ideas that you want to implement. And that's the reason they hired you, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Making sense, guys? All right, so I'm going to see if there's any other points that I'm missing out. Okay, any questions, let me know. All right. One thing I wanted to tell you is, let's say that, I had a remote team. When I was leading a team, I had a remote team as well. When I got promoted, one thing, if you're a leader, or even if you are not managing the team, if you have a team outside, which is outside of, outsourcing team, different country or different province, I really do not want you to ignore them. You have to be on top of things because they already feel left out. If you're a leader, you got to make sure that you travel, you connect with them, you take them on a team outing, understand where they're coming from, and make sure when you're meeting with them, you put that time difference in the factor as well. I see a lot of leaders, what they do is they just put the meeting on their time, which is what works for them. That's not the leadership is all about. When you're a new leader, you got to make sure that you understand the team dynamic and what works for everybody as well, and you do not want to miss that. You only get a couple of weeks to get a buy-in from your team. People, there's an impression, right? As much as you want to get to know them, they want to get to know you as well. Be personal, be approachable. One-to-one coaching, I always recommend you to do it right away. There is no best time for it because people are waiting. When is my manager going to come and talk to me? Even you as a new hire, if you have not talked to your manager, I really want you to go and set up a meeting in a calendar. If you're a new hire, every week you need to understand your boss's expectation. If you are doing the stuff that you should be doing, what's your progress like? So feedback is very important for you to grow as a new hire. And I really want you to take onus in your hand and be accountable for your own development, because the boss's job is to not to, promote you or pass you for probation. You got to shine it. You deserve it, right? So you need to take that onus and start meeting with the team. Even lunch. This is the fact for newcomers. I've been guilty of that, okay? If you're an immigrant, this is for immigrant or newcomers to Canada. Most people, what I see is when they join the organizations, they just go and sit down and have a lunch with the people they look like them. Because I get it, you wanted to feel that you belong there. There needs to be a sense of belonging, But, diversity, yes, people hire for diversity, but inclusion is not about that. Inclusion is you could be looking like me, but you should be able to talk to other races as well. And you don't want other people to come to you, but you want to go there and then mingle with the other people. I want you to stretch that. As a newcomer in Canada, I want you to have lunch with different people, random people within the department every day, not sit down with the same kind of people. Yes, you would have a favorite, but be very mindful of hanging out with the negative people as well in the corporate world, because that's your reputations. You need to hear everybody, but at the same time, pick who do you want to be part of it. And you will only know that when you start talking to the people, all right? Hopefully that makes sense. And that's where a lot of us as a newcomer to Canada and immigrant go wrong, is because we start talking to our kind of people, we start having our lunch, we start talking in our own language, but you need to be different. You need to cut that tie, and then you need to walk out and see what works for you, because your career is in your hand, not in your colleague's hand. Because next promotion that comes in, your colleagues are not going to sell you. You have to sell yourself, and your manager is watching you. I want you to make sure you choose your career path and everything with your own, energy and strength. All right. All right. So what else I wanted to talk about now? The other thing I want to talk about is when it comes to I've talked about 30 days plan to recap it, which is information sessions, doing the training, developing yourself. There are a lot of courses in-house. Second is being part of committee and having a meeting with the manager one-to-one and going to the skip level and volunteering in the organization as well. And for leadership team, what I do want to tell you is maybe organize a team outing, team event as well, so you get to mingle in a different level outside of work. And I know it's COVID, it cannot happen, but if you have a chance, please go outside, but don't do it outside the office hour, but do it within the office hour where people feel relaxed, because nobody likes to go after hour, and then they might have a need, they might have small babies at home, you never know, right? So make sure you do it in office hour and pay them for it, right? So because who doesn't like to be off the work and going outside, offsite, and do all those things for fun? I loved it for my team, plus when my manager did it as well, I loved it. So be part of that. All right. Okay. So what else? I think, and 90 days. So when it comes to 90 days, what happens is, to wrap up now, you revisit everything, and then you should have one massive thing accomplishment by the time that you are ending up in, like, 90 days bracket. You should have already figured out the organization culture, the team culture, the expectation of the manager, and you are set, good to go. You are going to be left alone. Any manager in the company and corporate world, and I've been there, we've been trained as well by learning and development team how to handle the new hires, how to handle the higher performer, how to handle, the people that we might have to let them go. So as a manager, I'm watching you. I'm not the only one who's watching you, because I would have coaching with you every week to make sure that you are right there. I'm setting you up for, success, right? I'm accountable for it. But what happens is, my manager would ask me later on, I would have a meeting with my manager as well. And my manager would ask me as well, thinking, hey, what do you think about the new hire? Do you see any challenges? What do you think? Do you want it to, is it okay? Is that person's going to pass the probation? Listen, this is where you need to make sure that when your manager talks about you to her bosses or his bosses, you need to be so comfortable that that my manager has only good word for me, or you should not be surprised. Anytime when there's a performance review coming in or a probation period coming in, your probation ends up in 90 days, you should already know if you're going to pass it. Or sometime I've extended the probation for my staff if I felt like they're the right fit. But sometimes they have a slow learning curve as a manager. I've worked with so many people, but not everybody actually learns the same way. Some people are more hands-on. Some people need the partner, mentor. The learning curve might be more than 90 days. And I've extended it instead of letting them go, right? As a final chance. So if you're having issues learning it, and if you learn differently, and if you're having issues with, the tools and resources provided to you, you got to talk it out with the manager strategically, right? Your boss would not understand anything. They're not, the mind reader. If something's not working out for you when you're new hire, you want to make sure you communicate so that way there are no surprises, because nonverbal communication is really hard to interpret. And, there's a probation period in the place. And if you're struggling, don't wait until 90 days. Go on the day that you realize that you're struggling and you need help. And any good manager would do anything for you to set you up for success. And I promise you that, right? But if there are bad apples and there are managers who feel like, okay, if you've not learned in 90 days, other people have learned in 90 days, you must be very bad hire. So you know what? I don't have a time for it, right? And that's probably not the management team you want to work with anyway. So you decide now, ball is in your court. You want to work for that company. So your job is not done. You should be always looking, even if you're a new hire, because what if it's not the right fit? I felt it. I've worked with a company where I felt like right away I was not the right fit. I was going to exit myself out. And I did resign, by the way, right? It was not the right fit for me. And hey, it's okay to quit and resign if you feel like you're not the right fit. Your job right now might be a dream job for somebody, right? So here it is, 30 days, 60 days and 90 days is your responsibility, even if your manager does not give you. And today I leave you with this. During interview, when you really want to work for this company, you want to give your heart and soul out, I really want you to ask this question in an interview and find out and say things like, ask questions like, what does the successful candidate look like for you? Right? How is my performance going to be measured? Is there a matrix? Is there a target I have to meet? What are the plans? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. What are the trainings? Some companies, they don't train you at all. You're expected. If you already have any experience, you are expected to run from day one, right? So now, do you want to work for that company? Are you comfortable? You got to know, are you set up for failure or are you set up for success? If you don't ask the right questions, you are going to have that self-doubt, low confidence, and it's not you because you're not asking the right questions and you're not working with the manager who are willing to listen. It's time for you to switch. Now go where you're celebrated. If you feel like after 90 days, you're still feeling it, and this is not the right role for you, job hopping is just fine. Do it for you. Don't worry about the gap. Just do it for your mental health. All right. Hopefully it is actually something that I teach in my job search strategy class. One size does not fit all based on the industry and, you know, when they get the offer and whatnot, right? I go through that. It's been newly added in my program. So I have limited seat for it. If you want to go and work with me, if you feel like you're struggling, you want to switch, you want to go somewhere where you're celebrated, either it's for mental health or it's for making more money, or, you know what, you just came to Canada and you don't know, you have no, you know, expertise on industry language in Canada, you're having hard time settling it, let's talk. There's the appointment calendar, and I'd be more than happy to see if we're the right fit and help you bounce back. All right, if there's any questions, let me know. If not, then I'm going to leave it as that. Let's see. I don't know how many people are watching. There are people watching. Perfect. All right, subscribe to my channel. And by the way, there's a blog in No Canadian Experience. It's a lot of things that I've gotten feedback, and people are sending me the message every day. If you're a newcomer in Canada, you should read that, because I wrote my own experience as a newcomer to Canada. No sugarcoating my days when I had to do, like, you know, survival jobs, my low self-esteem, my self-doubt, that I can completely relate to you. Go read it. And honestly, some of you probably are feeling it right now, and you can add the value by educating people and sharing that blog. All right. I love you all, and thank you so much for staying. And I know it's Friday and you'd rather be having fun right now. It's 1:40, but thank you for tuning in, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and share. And if you have any questions, any feedback about this, please let me know. I have open message on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn if you're watching me on Facebook and YouTube. I'm there as well. I teach do's and don'ts to job seekers in Canada. Also, my market is newcomers to Canada, because I've been there. And I also teach job search strategy to the laid off worker, because I was laid off as well. I teach all those strategies that I applied on myself, because I have walked a mile in your shoes. You take care. Have a great weekend, guys.